Hi everyone, I hope you are having a great virtual Student Org Conference Night experience. My name is Crystal McCain and I'm a coordinator in student involvement, and I'm going to be here talking to you today about how you can build the bench for your organization. So for those of you who've never heard this phrase before, when we talk about building the bench, what we mean is preparing the members of your organization to take over once you graduate or move on to other opportunities. So what we see a lot in student orgs is that a really strong, passionate group of students will take over the leadership of an organization or start an organization, and they'll be really active and doing really great work for their whole college career. And then they'll graduate and it'll be crickets because nobody in the org was prepared to run things after this group of people left. So they kind of look around, see who's left standing. Those people just become the officers and they struggle so hard for a year or they quit. And we don't want to see that happen to you because we know that your organizations are what makes campus a really great, vibrant place to be. So how can we prevent this? Well, we're going to want to build your bench. So I want you to take a minute right now and write down on a piece of paper between 1 and 4 people in your club who you think, you know what, if I were going to hand over the keys to the castle to someone, this person could do a really great job. Okay, so jot those down. Okay, hopefully you've got a strong list. And now we're going to talk about ways that you can kind of invest in those people. The first way is to delegate projects beyond the exec board. So we know that people who sign up for the exec board, they're really great, high-functioning, super organized people most of the time. And so it sometimes feels like it's easier to just do everything than to have someone else do it. But if you want these people that you've just thought of, or even other people, to be ready to take over the club from you, you have to give them some small stakes opportunities to kind of build those strengths. So maybe you are planning a conference, let's say, maybe you give them ownership of creating the sign-up process for that. And you say, okay, I'm gonna do most of the logistics, but Joey, you're gonna be in charge of the registration process. Check back in with me with 2 weeks, share with me your ideas, and I'll give you some feedback on that. By delegating some projects to them, you kind of give them a sense of what it might be like to have your job. So they do a couple of things, they're gonna run into problems, you're gonna help them out because you're a great mentor, and then they kind of get the feeling like, hey, I can do this. And then that might interest them in becoming an officer at a later date. Another great way to do this is similar, which is creating either formal or informal vice chair roles. So here's what I mean by that. Say that you are the treasurer of your organization. So you're probably going to be going to grant training. You're going to be writing that grant. You're going to be going to that grant hearing, and you're going to be kind of preparing all of that. Bring someone with you. You know, maybe you could make a formal role that's like assistant treasurer, and you could kind of train them that way, or else not. You know, you could say, hey, Joey, you're going to be my backup on this. Come along with me, and take them to grant training. Just because it says that it must be an officer that attends, it doesn't mean that other people can attend. You can have your whole entire club there if you want, and just have them sign up so they have enough space. And that's going to help make sure that they have seen the grant process before. They know what the form looks like. They know what kind of justification they're going to need, so that when they take on that role in a future time, they know how to do it and they can continue to get grants and continue enacting your mission. In the future, we'll go back to, I hope, having org conference night in person. More than just the officers can attend that event as well. Take those 4 people that you identified and have them come and listen to some of these presentations and kind of get in the mindset of what it might be like to run your organization. So we've talked about delegating, we've talked about vice chair roles. The last thing you can do to make sure that the bench of your organization is really set up for success is high quality transition documents. And this means more than just creating them a binder. So one thing that I would say is the most important in this aspect is kind of a monthly timeline. So if you can kind of give them a heads up on the kinds of things they should be looking for, you know, Usually mid-August, we get an email from the student involvement department that prompts us to do renewal. So look out for that email. If you don't see it, here's who you can contact. Leave them a trail of that information. So if for some reason they're not properly filled out on the paperwork and we're emailing the wrong people, they know that they've missed something and they can get in touch with us. Leave them a summary of your fall grants. You would not believe how often people come into our office and say, I know that the spring officers applied for grants, but I don't know what they're for, and I have no information on what we can buy with that money and how much we have and how to do it. Leave them a summary. Print out that application for them when you're submitting it and save it so that they can see what they've got to work with. Introduce them to key folks. I've got a couple of groups that I'm the liaison for, and they'll just pop by and say, hi, this is so-and-so. They're gonna probably be the officer next year. And so they know who I am and where to find me. And lastly, and possibly most importantly, hold your elections on time as per your governing documents. So most of you probably don't look at those dusty old documents very often, but they will often have election dates of February and March, which means that you could have those elections and still have a few months while you're left on campus to help train them, to organize those introductions, to show them how to log into Presence, etc., etc. But a lot of times people don't even know that their elections, that they're even supposed to have elections, when they should be, what the process for that is, and so they don't do it. And then whoever's left standing at the end of the semester just inherits the org, and that sets them up to be in a really stressful place. So have your elections on time, give them those documents, spend the time having the outgoing officer and the ingoing officer spend a little time together, and make sure that you have set everyone up for great success. I hope that you found this helpful. I'm sorry for rambling, but hopefully you guys will have a great semester. I'd love for you now to take a quick minute, and next to each of the names of the people that you have jotted down, I want you to write down one commitment that you're gonna make to that person that's gonna set them up to be a great officer next year. Maybe it's gonna be taking them to grant training. Maybe it's gonna be taking them to coffee and just talking about what an officer does. Whatever it's gonna be, I want you to spend the next minute doing that. And I won't sit and watch you do that, but please do. Thank you for your time, and I hope you guys have a great and successful fall semester.